Hi, this is Sarah Burgess, and we are here for our weekly career insight session. So this week we're focusing on resilience and all about developing and maintaining your resilience through your job hunt. And I'm joined today by Liz Oseland, who is a specialist in leadership, innovation and wellbeing and is a career coach at 1080. She's also a certified relaxed kids and relaxed adults coach, and specialising resilience. Also, back again is Urvashi Desai, so also a career coach for 1080. She also specialises in resilience, social inclusion, empowerment. She's a career coach, as already mentioned, and an advocate for career givers. She is also a career carer giver. Sorry, I'm getting my words mixed up there. And she's passionate really about anyone who's excluded. So we're here today to talk about resilience. So as you can see at the bottom, I've got here, please like and comment throughout the session. So it's really helpful for us if you can. Yes, let's comment on things as we go through, because it just helps to steer our conversation. I'm going to kick off first of all with our first question, and that is, what is resilience? So Liz, if I can hand over to you.
Yeah, I think resilience is about the ability to bounce back from things quite quickly. And a certain degree of, I don't like the word, but mental toughness. But what I mean by that is a strength, and not as in a cut, physically. We've got to set more about the next step in where you are, and the big message, second is the place, build your resilience and mental strength.
Okay, thank you. Urvashi, from your point of view?
Yeah, exactly. That's spot on. But I think also would add on is that capacity to adapt. So it's in challenging setbacks, how do we adapt and keep our mental, not toughness, but as a balance in spite of the setback.
Okay, that's good.
One thing I will also add is the resilience. I think when business webinars, there's these wonderful concepts. But I always go back to, and I think I did in my last webinar as well. It's something we already know and understand from an experiential point of view. We've all experienced resilience, so it's kind of going on that, which we touch on. But I think it's not a new concept. It's something we already know and we do.
Okay, great. Okay, so what traits do resilient people have? So Liz, again, do you want to start on that?
Oh gosh, lots of things when you're aware of it. Resilient people they've got something which is future focused, but I also think that life is actually so yes, there's a clear direction which we're going, but when that moves quite forward,
and I think you read a lot, don't you, about people that you see as highly successful and talk about the things that they've gone through to get to the point and maybe it's like that, how it makes you that person you want to be. So, Urvashi, what would you say about this?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think also resilient people are able to still tap into their strengths. They know this is a tough thing I'm going through, whatever the setback they're facing, but somehow they're able to stay grounded and look at what strengths have I got. So they're able to they can tap into the resources, and that allows them to do one number of things. They would conserve their energy because obviously, especially jobs like the energy will be sapped when you're having setbacks, and they kind of stay focused. And one thing I found, particularly I'm an engineering firm, it's an engineer, and I'm not an engineer, I'm very career HR person. And one principle which I adopted in my own thinking is You may have heard about Elon Musk talks a lot about it, but first principles. It's a concept of you look at what's true about this situation rather than completely hold it back on the you take what is true about the situation. I'd encourage you to read look into that because it's very powerful. I've found when I've been rooted by love, I need to have very firstly what's true about the situation and what's the reality. So like what you said earlier, facing the facts, not overly getting the negative thinking over, but they don't tend to think negatively for too long. You have to come for them to various facts of that. And they also challenge their negative thinking. So what's the evidence for this? Am I really bad because I didn't get that job? Is it realistic that, I should do this way? So they're able to do that. So the first principle, contribution is really very powerful. That's one of the things people, they may not say that, but that's what they really apply.
And going on to that, I think that's a really key point, isn't it? That we might have setbacks and we also might receive feedback, good and bad, and we can see that as criticism. We might not like the person, we might not even respect them, but I think resilient people are able to take that criticism as well and say, well, how can I turn this into a learning opportunity? And also going on to what Urvashi was saying, it's you might have that plan, but you can also have a plan B, which fits into your multiple sprints. And I know, Sarah, you're big on this, and I've experienced it myself. And at the time, it feels like plan B, and that's okay. And then all of a sudden, plan B becomes the best thing that's ever happened to you.
Absolutely.
So it's very much that acceptance.
Yeah. And I guess also it might not be an immediate acceptance. I think that's the thing as well, isn't it? So I remember having some feedback about a job I didn't get, and I was really quite angry about it at the time. But what I ended up doing was kind of filing it, physically filing it in my folder, and then going back to it later and then kind of reading it again when I was, I guess, a little bit less emotional about it. So I think it's that, okay, I'm really annoyed, but I need to do something about it to stop it annoying me, to get out of my vision, and then go back to it when you feel like you can.
Yeah, so acknowledging the recognition and then
exactly. Excellent, great.
My experience with coaches, just touching on what they said about plan B, my experience from the coach I've worked for 10 years has been a plan B has been very, very preferred option. But initially there was resistance, and the experience and the evidence suggests that especially with pandemic, people have actually reached standards, and it's not less ambitious and taking a compromise. They've actually been refreshed. Actually, this one we've had at school, those who observe me, and that's been so inspiring.
Yeah, I agree. And actually, the focus of next week's session is about setting up a side hustle. So, and that's very much about, it's actually one of my friends who had a really successful career in editing that wasn't working during the pandemic because there was not that work. And he went on to develop his paddleboard in business. So that's going to be really interesting next week. But it's that very thing, really, isn't it? And that was definitely a plan B because that was something that we liked to do in the evenings. But it ended up being full-time summer work for him. So it's great. Okay, so the next one, what is a growth mindset and how does that relate to resilience? So, Liz, do you want to start again?
Yeah, growth mindset for me is about having that positive frame of mind, with confidence to back yourself in your own abilities. But I think with growth mindset as well, we need to be mindful that when we look at people who are successful, or maybe when somebody got a job before you have, and from an outsider looking in, you think, yes, they've got growth mindset and they're super successful, but it's really easy for them. And growth mindset actually requires an awful lot of hard work. And that's what we don't see, the effort and the hours that people might put into their job searching, or even questioning, yes, what do I like doing, what are my strengths, what motivates me. And so there's a lot of hard work that goes behind living in that growth mindset, but when you pull that together, that's when you can get the success. So it's not an easy, I'm just going to do positive mental thinking, and you've got to put in that effort as well.
Great. Urvashi, have you got any examples or experience you can talk about?
I think experience from, again, coaches in the training team, where people are demonstrating that. What did I find more and more often is they've tapped into their network So they know they've got a capacity to go from A to B because they need to do that, but they're able to tap into the network. So they're much more creative. They're using their creative abilities, whatever the situation requires. Because pandemic has been quite challenging for most people, and what worked in the old model may not work. So, for example, I can think about one of my coaching was now interviewing through Zoom. You know, it's challenging. You know, how does my hair recover, present, and what energy, especially if you're very charming, create that aura. You might not be able to do that through Zoom meeting. So this is really, you know, I'm going to have to adapt. So they're able to adapt by tapping into the resources wherever they may emerge.
I thought it was going to be like paint by numbers.
No, cross stitch is really hard.
Yeah, here's
Okay,
here's my fabric.
from someone watching. So
How do you know which
Liz
colour
can
to
be cut off a little bit there.
It's
So
got a little
it's
key.
but so from Jeffrey, so picking up on your point in responding to feedback, it's ability really knowing yourself and understanding your rational and irrational approach.
So it's
Also
also
something here about our energy and take into account. Yes, good point.
page 3 is the first page. So
As I said, there is
Why
an
would they
element
not make
of
page one the first
finding
page
what
to
is
start?
justified,
so the center point is where that star is.
Yes.
spectrum around that. And the energy piece is really interesting, isn't it? Because I think resilient people and those who have a growth mindset, they do go together, have that ability to know when to step away. And I don't just mean from the thought process, but from when things aren't working, physically change your surroundings. You know, like so that's what saying, tap into your network, go and speak, that helps. Go for a run, go for paddleboarding, whatever it is. There's no point still sitting in front of the computer. We if your run gives me energy, not only will it give me the energy, but it gives me the time and space to think about it in a different way. Loads of evidence around actually we come up with some of our best thinking and most creative ideas when we are in a relaxed state. So it's giving ourselves that permission for downtime, to step away, go to a different environment when we're allowed, and to see it from a different perspective. And it is that almost like creative process. So making sure that your energy levels are there as well.
Great. Urvashi, any further comment on that one?
Carer energy is a key thing for me. And that's why it's a good situation of carer. You know, you have finite amount of energy, and therefore you need to have a very targeted approach, especially when, you know, there's job hunting. So yeah, that's a very good point.
Great, thank you, Jeffrey. Okay, so the next question we move to then, how do you develop the resilience you need for job hunting during the pandemic? So, Urvashi, shall I start with you this time?
Yeah, I think we kind of touched on this earlier on. It's again, going back to energy piece, you know, you have so much energy, so you really need to be very sort of focused on what you're seeking. You're at a particular point where you need to be. And the pandemic will bring its own challenges. You know, it's a different environment, so you really need to understand what's different in this job market than it was previously, and be really honest about it, and look at yourself, whether how you fit in. So, like, you know, some people might not like interviewing for Zoom. So you say, okay, well, that's the challenge I have. So if I'm looking for a job, I'm going to have to overcome that. So it's just being very honest with that. The other thing is, again, I go back to self-care. Yeah, so empathetic to other people when they're job hunting. Oh, I understand you, it must be tough. But we're not so empathetic towards ourselves. And it's easy for us to be empathetic to other people. And really kind of change that and say, have some empathy for yourself. It's a tough market. It's a different situation. So having that self-compassion just frees you, as Liz said, you know, gives that perspective and energy. So you're not going to beat yourself about it. So that's very important. And again, I'm like a broken record. You really, really, really need to connect and reach out.
Yeah.
And that's through formal mechanisms, through your LinkedIn contacts, your friends, your ex-colleagues, but also resilience about feeling good about yourself. And it could be having a conversation with a loved one, whoever that is, whether it's a grandma, neighbor, someone you tap into. You'd be amazed how much unconditional love and strength you can draw from that. It just makes you more inspired to go and do the tough things. So it could be old fashioned having a chat with someone you love.
That's nice, thank you. And Liz?
Yeah, agreed. I think having that strong network is imperative.
Yeah.
Actually, how we all are at the moment. You can sit in home on your own and feel like you're the only one going through it, and it's not until you connect either about the feeling or the process of actually that job hunting. So absolutely, it could be through professional network. Sarah, you're the expert on LinkedIn. You've loads of tips around, how you network through LinkedIn and engaging with a career coach to ask you those questions. Let's get you out of bed in the morning. What is the big dream plan? What is acceptable time? Knowing what your strengths are, and skills. I mean, you can absolutely ask yourself those questions. And I think there's also a piece around optimism. For a lot of us, that's hard at the moment because we can't see the end of it. And you might be naturally optimistic, or that might be hard for you normally. But I think when you are, looking for jobs, number one, as a bachelor, you have to be really organised. So not just the energy you can have, but finding a job is a 9-to-5 job in itself. So how you set yourself up in the process of catching that in a spreadsheet or however it is, to take the pressure off yourself in the sense of you've organised, you've got a plan. Staying optimistic and not letting go of that big dream job or the career that you want, but also accepting what is then realistic. If that's the key on the resilience, keep hold of the optimism, and you don't need to let go of it. But there is a time where you're going to have to accept it, adapt, and be quite realistic, and then possibly get change of that.
Great, that's really helpful, thank you. So we've got a question in from Mark, which actually is one of the questions we have prepared, or very similar anyway, so that's quite handy. So Mark says, some people are by their nature not very resilient. So what extra things can they do to build their confidence? So Liz, do you want to start on that one?
Well, I'm a big advocate for affirmations, positive affirmations. There's loads of great resources out there. Actually, happiness is one of them. And then it can just be as simple as following a daily focus or a daily affirmation. So let's say today is I am kind. I think yesterday was World Kindness Day anyway, or this week, isn't it? And so you wake up in the morning with that intention and affirmation, and slowly over time that builds the confidence. So you can either go to a resource like that, or you could come up with your own. And today I'm full of energy. And you might not feel it, but if you've got that written somewhere, you see it from the moment that you wake up, and it's a constant thought all day. By the time you go to bed, you go, actually, yeah, I'm a bit more. That would be very simple and achievable, say, first step.
Yeah, Urvashi.
I'm going to be a little bit controversial. And Mark, as much as I love you, and I'm a big fan of yours, I probably disagree to some extent with that. But say, yes, some people by nature are resilient. I think we're all resilient. It's just a matter of degrees. If you take out the visit in the job hunting, just look at life in a bigger sense. We've all had setbacks, whether they're big or small, and we've always bounced back. And even taking that aside, look at the pandemic. We didn't know how, we've never lived in lockdown. We've never lived in this disconnected world. But here we are, we're all dressed up and doing this thing. So we are resilient. But okay, taking that aside, I just wanted to share something that I came across a podcast listening to John Perry. I don't know whether you've heard his podcast. And he mentioned this really interesting concept about self-worth and self-esteem. Self-worth is something you're born with, so everybody has that. Even babies have that. We kind of all know it when we feel down. We say, we know we feel good about ourselves. So it's kind of tapping into self-worth rather than self-esteem, which is an external thing. It's about I get a clean job, and have a certain salary. It's an external stuff. And yet we may actually want them for a number of reasons. But that's not who we really are intrinsically. So understand that distinction and tapping into our self-worth gives you enormous confidence that I'm good enough. And I think just being aware of that, because we do have it, so it's kind of just, I'm not getting bogged down with self-esteem, I need to get this job, I need to get this job, I need to muscle this job. And taking it almost like a little step back. From that. That will give you so much confidence, and you will actually get a dream job. You do all the ambitious things you want, but it's just tapping into your self-worth.
Yeah, exactly.
That's good. Thank you. And I think for me, plans have really helped me. So I'm training for a marathon at the moment, and I'm following quite a structured training plan. I've run marathons lots of times before, and I have sort of loosely followed plans. At this time, I'm really sticking to it quite rigidly, which that's one of the positives of COVID, that I have actually been able to have the time to do that. So that's really great. But it's just given me that confidence that I actually think I will be able to achieve the run in the time that I want to, which in the past I've always been a bit like, oh, I'm not sure. And I think it can totally relate to your job hunt, really. So I think the importance of having a plan is just really key. But also having the support, as we've talked about already. So again, go back to running, that's what's helped me. So I've got the support in a friend that's running with me, and my family at home kind of supported me, which when you're job hunting, you need that support. You need people to be looking out for you, both emotionally and actually tangibly helping you with jobs if you can. And then just having the right tools. So for me this time, having the right kind of watch that allows me to program my runs in and beeps at me has been really, really helpful. And that kind of goes back to the CV. So making sure your CV is right for the role you're going for, making sure it's tailored every time. So if you've got the plan, tools, support, then that does bring confidence in itself, I think.
Yeah, and I think a great tool that most of us do use as career coaches is obviously the personal SWOT analysis. And for some people, that's quite a revelation of getting it down on paper and getting back some of that control, a feeling of helplessness, or what do I do with it? Because when you put it in that form, then you say, okay, well, if that's my threat, how am I going to minimise it? Or that threat actually, and then it's a worldwide thing, it's not just me, and I'm not alone in it. And so there are loads of tools that come throughout that too.
Yeah, that's great. So Mark just put up interest in you, and I think that was aimed at you actually, because it was kind of when you were talking that appeared. So thanks, Mark, for confirming that. Okay, so the next one is about resilience, sometimes being a bit of a buzzword, and it's often seen now on job descriptions that you need to be resilient. And I think some people seem to associate that with, how much can you take, before you break almost. So how can we go about reclaiming that? So Urvashi, do you want to start on that one?
Yes. Again, going back to the point I made earlier, which is a buzzword and something you've all got experience on. And in your job description and interview and again, I would go back to basics and again, all the basics. But really, kind of, there's not some sort of like a technical tool you can read up about it. It's something you need to do. Especially when shit hits the fan, you actually got to respond. You haven't got pictures, and you've all got experience within you. I would draw from that experience and then rehearse the response. So just say, well, okay, what has happened in my life? You could use your work experience, whether it's a presentation or really well, even though that's how you make sense of it, and learning to draw from that. So it's just a wider life experience.
I was just thinking, what's the right
And
way to
COVID
say
has
it?
given us so
See, I'm
much
not doing brush with
richness in stories and narratives.
No, I know, it's just
about experiences and draw from that either in the CV or on that. In terms of skills you have, not about the incident, but to say what skills I actually demonstrate, which got me through this. And that will come across as a very genuine, sincere, my child is pretty sexy to the interviewer. Authentic, and that will definitely put in a good step. So I always just go back to basics with yourself and tap into them and extract those stories, which you definitely have.
I agree. And I think if you ask that in an interview, almost the worst thing that you can do is interpret that as I got business, my last role, and then I took on more, and then they gave me this, and then I think we're educated enough now to know that that's going to lead to burnout, and actually that's not the answer we want to hear. We want to hear that you had a baby, that you knew what celebrating was, and that keeps around, as Urvashi was saying. The example we did in your interview, maybe a personal one. And if you develop that type of relationship before going through the interview, that's a great opportunity to shine as you as a human being. Hopefully, you've given enough answers in terms of the role and capabilities and leading people, if that's what the role's about. Then you provide a bit of an info of comfortable. Well, in the personal life, this is what happened in this care, I was resilient, and it just lets you shine a bit more as a person.
Absolutely, yeah. We talked about that in a couple of sessions about being a bit vulnerable and actually, like you say, being brave to do that, and that will help you to build up a relationship with the interviewer if you feel comfortable and if the interview's flowing in that kind of way. Okay, we had a couple more comments up. So one here from Chris Thorne. So what do you think people can do to accept where things are so that they don't get stuck and can move forward? So, any thoughts?
I think it's just again looking at it realistically, looking at it objectively. You know, it takes a while to do that because sometimes you feel it and overtake you. Yeah. Again, having that acknowledging, yes, my feelings are overtaking me, and giving yourself permission is okay. At the moment, I'm not getting things straight, and giving yourself permission. And things we talked about earlier, whatever strategies you use, whatever works for you, take your mind off that. And then you go back to where you want to say, okay, this has happened, so I'm stuck here. So what is the evidence? I always say, what is the evidence for this? And ask that question to my coaches. Often the evidence isn't as black and white as they make it out to be. Yeah, there are some truths they can learn from and they can do different, but they're often exaggeration. And I give an example. Yesterday, I was talking to one of my fellow coaches, and he did a chemistry meeting with 3 clients, and one of them came back and gave him business, and 2 of them didn't. And he first was talking about the 2 people who rejected him, and that was the focus. And he said, one of them did accept you. And when he did actually meet the coaches who were going to coach the clients, he realized they were not the right for him anyway. He couldn't help them. Yeah, but tendency to over exaggerate. So I think I'm giving myself permission to actually look at objectively. And again, I get back to one of those questions, look into that. I always find you ask the right questions in that situation, like, what's the
collected from you all pay 50 questions, what are these troubles?
what are the
Still on the way
what are
home,
the
you pass, I
things
think. We have a new course
what are
starting
to do
at 5.
differently? And I think these questions particularly are relevant in the pandemic because I think it's a different environment and therefore we all need to adapt. And take that.
Yeah, I think it's a really good point that it's not about stifling the feelings that you have. That's a leads to resilience, that leads to the opposite. It's not about not acknowledging what you feel and the impact. Resilience is actually saying, I am feeling really angry about this, but then taking a moment in a positive, constructive way that what is actually next. If that's going for a run to get it all out of the system, you've chosen the right thing.
We're just wondering.
So the first step is absolutely acceptance of the emotions, trying to give it a healthy connections and associations that you can make to do that. And then going into good questions, like Urvashi was saying, one that I always use is to break down those assumptions and bring this thing, where's the evidence? No, actually, it's assumption. Well, then what is the worst thing that can happen? Really simple question, but it's perspective and so
Yeah. So I think you've kind of addressed Chris's questions there about how to better manage the feelings when you're feeling overwhelmed. So like you say, that's fine. You've answered it without even looking, so that's great. So we've got a comment here from Nicoletta who's saying it's easily said then done. So I think that's the thing. It is difficult. I guess that is part of being resilient, isn't it? To kind of go away, acknowledge, think about it, and then reframe, I guess.
Just one thing I would add on what Nick was saying, there's a lot of things about mental health, and I've done a lot of research on that because I'm quite intrigued by that. And one concept which I've kind of come up is radical acceptance. So no matter where you are, how horrible the situation is, and how you feel, you've got to radically accept that. It's easy, again, it's easier said than done, but it's also acknowledging that you're not able to deal with it. Nick's point is easier said than done, but acknowledging that I can't deal with this, and that's okay.
Okay, got another question from Mark here. So as career coaches, in addition to SWOT, what else how else can we make a real difference to help our clients? So this is not one we've planned for. So Liz, do you want to suggest something here?
That's such a really good point there around the difference between self-value and self-worth. So I think it is that questioning around, your values. You're not likely to break away from those very documented, you know, and just like opening up and having a conversation, clarity around that. And while we're mentioning autism, then you know, designing financing your why, why is fundamental of who you are and what you want in life. And I think when you do things like that, SWOT, and look at what drives you, what your motivators are, what your skills are, and your strengths, then that whole package then hopefully will give you that confidence and resilience to know where I'm going right and what some of the things I'm developing.
Yeah, great. Okay, Urvashi, anything to add to that?
Same thing, but I think again, not mimicking other people. It's basically being yourself, and like we said, the tools, the strengths, and so for the values is very important. But I think what we can do as career coach, if we are coaching them, is giving them a space to explore that. Because we don't always get that. We're so focused on just getting CVs out, but also explore that journey, like giving them space to have a different perspective to the one they may have.
Yeah,
it's again not easy to do, but when we actually do, we are able to do that for my clients, and we give them a different way of looking at it than they've commonly looked at by giving them the space and exploring questions. It's very powerful. Don't always achieve it every client, but when it is, I think it's a good gift to give, because then they own the journey.
Yeah.
And then, we're just facilitating where we're going to.
Okay, we've got a comment from Paul kind of answering Chris's question. So I think we all need to focus on what is within our control to help manage these feelings. Sometimes this isn't easy, especially in this pandemic situation. So that's very true. Thank you for that. Okay, so we are basically out of time now. So thank you very much. If you can think of a top tip or a kind of a final thought to leave people with, that would be great. So Urvashi, you got any ideas?
I think I'll go with the quote. I had Carl Jung, I'm a big fan of him. He often says, it's not what has happened to me that matters, but it's the choice I have to what I become. So when you're having setbacks, it's the kind of step back, it's what you become that matters, not the event itself. Don't let the event define you.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. Liz?
I'll go with quotes as well. You just you choose your response to the stimuli, like choose your response to what is happening. So you can't control that. So as Paul just said, there's lots out of us, but what you can control is your reaction to them and how you see about them. But it might not be instant, it might be a reflection. That's what will give you that resilience going forward.
Great. I've seen a couple of comments coming up. Yes, thank you there. And then from Mark here, thanks for great personal tools to work with. Okay, and another one from Chris. Stephen Cooley's suggests the influence of control great here too. Thank you. So that's great. And then another thank you message. So thank you. So next week we are back to talk about setting up a side hustle, which I referred to earlier on. So I'll be joined by Nick Judd and also David Mellor, who is career coach and self-employment expert at Natal. So hope to see you next week, and thank you again to Liz and Urvashi.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, Sarah. Bye, Liz.
Bye.